Good morning, all. My name is Haley Comet, and welcome to your weekly astrology forecast, just another Magic Monday. Your cosmic insights for the week of May 9th to May 15th. Yes, what's happening in the cosmos, but what I'm more interested in covering every single Monday here on my channel is how you can leverage these planetary influences to live your most magical aligned life, how to flow and swim downstream with the cosmos rather than force against these planetary energies. And we've got a packed week. So let's get into it. We've got Mercury stationing retrograde, which is going to be an extra trickster energy since it is stationing in its domicile of Gemini. So I'm breaking down how to prepare for that. Jupiter enters Aries, which is a tonal difference that will feel for the next year, truly. Like, this is a hallmark transit that you're gonna wanna get the details on. And we also have, because that wasn't enough, the cosmos also threw in a Scorpio Lunar Eclipse this week, squaring Saturn on the South Node. So we're breaking it all down. If you wouldn't mind, if you get any value out of this video at all, if you could consider liking, subscribing, sharing. I'm so appreciative for you all who join every single Monday, or if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for being here. And without further ado, let's get into it. Timestamps are below, and do know that I am based on the West Coast, so I typically, when I mention time zones, I speak in terms of PST. So adjust it to your time zone before marking it in your calendar. So this Monday, let me know what you guys are drinking today, whether it's a coffee, a tea. I'm drinking this random drink. It's a Perrier Yerba Mate drink. I got it from the sales section at Albertsons. If you're at the grocery store and there's like a random display of the most bizarre items you have ever seen in your life, but they typically are really cheap. I recommend, if you don't peruse those, take a look. You can really stumble across some really great things. You'll stumble across some strange things for sure, but sometimes you can stumble across something like this. Apparently this didn't go well. That's what I assume if it's on the sale thing. I'm like, okay, this really isn't selling. So people really weren't buying this Perrier Yerba Mate caffeine drink. One element of feedback I have, if anyone from the Perrier team happens to be watching Magic Monday, is like, what is it? Are you Yerba Mate? Are you sparkling water? Are you a caffeine drink? It's claiming it's everything. I'm confused, but I did get it for like, I think it was like 6 for $2 or something. So this is your reminder to make sure to check the sales section. There will be a lot of weird stuff, but sometimes there can be something where it's like, what the heck? I love a good fun drink. I'll buy a fun drink. Also, thank you to everyone who validated me that it is totally fine to be drinking a coffee out of a wine glass last week. I really appreciate your support this week, because Mercury and Gemini retrograde, like, the only way we're going to get through this influence, and I'm telling you right now, is if you can laugh, okay? If you can laugh at the bizarre inconveniences, and if you can just laugh at life and have a sense of humor. That's how Gemini placements get through life, is through laughter and through humor. And so I was trying to prove a point, so I grabbed a champagne flute to show that a cup is a cup. But doesn't this legitimately look like champagne? Like, less bubbles, but that looks like champagne, does it not? So I was trying to be funny, but this is like a little much for me. It just really feels like I'm drinking champagne talking about Magic Monday. But cheers, y'all. Happy Magic Monday. Okay, not gonna lie though, drinking from a champagne flute is actually kind of fun. I'm kind of loving it. Just giving Magic Monday that extra good morning glow. Okay, so let's talk about our vibe check of the week. So this week feels like biting off more than you can chew, okay? So I'm going to liken this to a scenario, because it's what I do with vibe check of the week, is I essentially break down what the cosmos feel like into a real life scenario, so you can sort of have a mental grasp of what the planetary energies we're dealing with this week. So this week feels like girl bossing too close to the sun. It feels like going on a hike that's really long. It's quite an undertaking, and early in the hike you're like, I don't know if this is actually the right way. I'm looking for this particular marker. I haven't found it, but I'm leading my friends. This hike was my idea. I don't want to turn around and say, guys, I don't know where I am. So I'm just going to boldly act like I know exactly where we're going on this 9-mile hike and just blaze through it, okay? That's what this week feels like. And I'm going to coach you to try to avoid this because 2 events happen on Tuesday. And one is Jupiter entering Aries, which is this bold rush of energy around being authentic, around going after what it is that we want, around letting our desires lead the way, about getting angry about the right things, right? It is about our raw instincts, our desires. And Aries is a very beginning oriented energy. So this is going to ramp up our confidence levels, our belief in ourselves, but it can also ramp up our desire to just jump into something new, jump into this 9-mile hike, even if you don't have a map, jump in. Like, it's going to ramp up enthusiasm, but not necessarily discernment. And this is important because on that same day, Mercury stations retrograde in the sign Gemini. So there can be details that we simply do not have on this disposal. You know you do not have a map. You know that you were supposed to see a marker a mile in of a little yellow tag that was designating that this trail was the way to go. And you know that you haven't seen an individual on this hike for about 2 miles, and you know that you're just still going ahead like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And it's like, will you? Because now we're hungry and we're lost. And with this energy, with Mercury retrograde, it's really important to stick to initiatives that have already been undertaken. And that's going to be hard to do because Jupiter in Aries is going to ramp up your desire to want to jump into projects feet first, go on this hike and figure out the details later. But I'm telling you, with Mercury retrograde, there can be certain details that are not filled in at that moment, or there can be certain elements that you need to go back and double check. And with Jupiter in Aries, it just ramps up the energy of just continuing to hike and just being like, I'll figure it out, we'll figure it out. And it's like, will we? Because we're just getting more and more lost on this hike. And I want you, I'm not saying squelch your enthusiasm entirely. I definitely want you to be excited, like I said, to get mad and motivated about the right things. Like Aries is all about our divine fire, desire to want to jump in, to initiate, to start things, to create things, right? But I really want you to take those insights and maybe journal them down. And if you have a moment when you're about to leave for this hike and you're like, ooh, should I double check that I put the map in my backpack? Double check. Double check everything, whether it's that email, you know, Jupiter in Aries, this could be for you getting an idea at work and just sending off the email and forgetting to like double check, oh, do we even have the logistics for this to happen? Like, this enthusiasm that's building is a beautiful thing, but it's important to temper it with the details, with being discerning, with slowing down and filling in the logistics of the matter. And then we have a Scorpio Lunar Eclipse on Sunday. Now that's specific. It technically exacts for Eastern Monday, early Monday morning, but you're gonna feel this really build this weekend and then exact around that time. And this is a heavy eclipse, I'll be forthright. And as we're building to it, there can be this sense of intensity and almost panic, which is also why I want you to resist these knee-jerk actions, just jumping into something or just continuing to force yourself onward on this hike without asking, are we going the right way? Is this where we want to go? Like, this is a week to really observe what's coming to the surface, but double check before you set off on that journey. Double check that you're going on the right path, and don't let this energy of panic make you make knee-jerk or erratic decisions. Because with Scorpio South Node, we really are collectively shifting away from going to extremes or going down like fear spirals or allowing our actions to be derived from that place. With North Node in Taurus, the more that you can anchor into the energy of steadiness, just one foot in front of the other, grounding yourself down, attuning to the logistics. Yes, there's a lot of passion and anger and intensity in the cosmos this week, but the more that you can anchor down into the present moment and not let fear or panic make your decisions, or also this feeling around, well, I'm too far in, I can't go back now. You can go back now, okay? We don't want to be out on this hike all night. So without further ado, let's dive in your day-by-day breakdown for the week ahead. On Monday, the 9th, the moon is in Leo in the morning time. It does go void around 5:30, and if you're new here, when the moon's void, important tasks you must avoid. Closing aspect of that void is the moon opposing Saturn, so it's just a Monday, kind of Monday. It's just sort of blah. You're just sort of having to muscle through tasks. It could feel heavy, it could feel restrictive, your responsibilities could feel crushing. There's a lot on your plate and not enough motivation to really tackle it, right? It could be really hard to stay focused. I don't know about you guys, but this Mercury in Gemini transit has been so challenging to stay focused. I've been so distracted ever since this transit started. So not to say that Monday has a really highly distracted note, but it just more so comes from kind of a blah energy, not really wanting to dive into work. And the moon doesn't enter Virgo, which essentially ends the void, until 3:53. So it's really not a productive morning. Best to stick to matters that are more mundane, that are more routine, to just slug through your responsibilities. And then the moon enters Virgo. And this attunes our focus to our Aries, to the little details of our life, to our health, to maintenance. And the Virgo moon is answering to Mercury, which at this point is slowing down to station and shift directions. And my best advice with this Virgo moon transit is handle what you can handle and let go of the rest, because it can be so frustrating with the Virgo moon and Mercury about to station retrograde. Like, technical difficulties are all but ensured, and it can be so frustrating to just try to do the same thing over and over again. Like, try to export this file, it's just like export failed, export failed. Try to upload this, upload failed. Try to use this feature on Excel, it's not working, and just trying it over and over again, because Virgo moon can be very worried and it can be very attuned to the details, so it can get very frustrated when things aren't going exactly according to plan and it feels itself not being efficient. It's like, but this item is on my to-do list, so I need to finish this Excel spreadsheet by the end of the day, even though this feature isn't working. Take a deep breath, take a step back. It will still be there. With Mercury retrograde, slow and steady, double check. Don't let the building passion of Jupiter at the 29th degree is where it's at on Monday, because it enters Aries the next day. And just so you know, 29 degrees is the anaretic degree. It imbues the planet with a sense of urgency. And with Jupiter at the final degree of Pisces, there can be this urgency around, I just got to get this done. Like, I don't care if this feature isn't working. I don't care if I have to stay here all night. I just need to get it done. Like, it might just do you best to just take a deep breath, leave it for the next day. Slow and steady is the pace for Mercury retrograde, okay? And on Tuesday at 4:47 a.m., Mercury stations retrograde. Okay, like I said earlier, it's important to have a sense of humor through this transit. It's important to laugh at yourself. It's important to laugh at life. It's just important to laugh, because sometimes that's all you can do. When you and your friends have been on hour 5 of this hike and your friend just spilled all the nuts and now you guys need to crouch down and get all the nuts and you guys are dehydrated, but it's so ridiculous that you're having to pick up your trail mix from the dirt, there's a moment where it's like, okay, this is kind of funny. This is kind of funny that we're in this situation. Again, it's not our ideal situation. We really wish this Excel spreadsheet would work the way it's supposed to. We really wish this hike had gone as planned, because we didn't expect this to be a 12-hour undertaking. But you gotta laugh. What else can you do? And I'm telling you, Mercury is a trickster energy, and I feel like Gemini just encapsulates this so much. It's getting weird, wrong number texts. It's sending a text to someone who was the person that text was about. It's just incidents and communication issues that are frustrating, annoying, perhaps embarrassing, but like kind of funny, like kind of comical. You can kind of find that moment to just take a beat and laugh. And trust me, during this influence, double check It can be really hard to stay focused. You might need to sort of review how it is that you mentally conduct yourself. For some people, it might feel really aligned to take a social media break. And just so you know, if you want to dive deeper into Mercury retrograde, I did do a video on this, on what your sign can expect, because this one is a doozy. But in short, double check everything, laugh at life, laugh at yourself. If something isn't working, don't force it, and take this opportunity to review past projects rather than getting lost in the thrust of enthusiasm of Jupiter Aries into trailblazing a new path. Handle what's already been initiated, okay? You could be missing important details. You can be missing details that you need to refine. Handle that before you set off on this new hike, okay? Finish the first hike before you set off on this new hike. And then around 4:22 p.m., Jupiter enters Aries, which ramps up our enthusiasm, our passion, our instincts, our desire to trailblaze, as well as just our belief in ourselves. Like if there's ever been a time to, you know, girl boss too close to the sun, it's Jupiter and Aries. It really is a time that we can reap extraordinary benefits when we do take a risk. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying go forth and conquer that new thing. There's very much an energy this week about being in too deep and you're missing important details with Mercury retrograde. Note the ideas. If you come up with an idea around, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool if we did this, or I had a new project that did this, note what comes up, but handle what's already been initiated, okay? And try not to let that enthusiasm drown out the logistics, okay? Because you can be missing important details. Like I said, this hike, you don't have a map. You're excited, you're enthusiastic, but excitement and enthusiasm can only take you so far, and you only have a set amount of trail mix and water for this hike. But the Virgo moon's kind of cranky because early in the morning, it squared off with Mercury and Gemini, which again is retrograde, and that's who it's answering to. So the Virgo moon is overwhelmed, it's scattered, it's getting all these new ideas. But again, there are past projects that need your attention. There can be certain elements of your website where there's technical features that aren't working. There could be a need to reread that article that you wrote 3 years ago, and maybe there's gems within it. There's a need to slow down, okay? And Tuesday can be a productive day if you use that enthusiasm to handle matters that have already been initiated, rather than abandon those to go off and find, you know, trail where the grass is greener, right? There's always this energy with Jupiter and Aries around the new, and Mercury and Gemini is sensitive to that as well, and just really important to temper that enthusiasm. Be excited, but try to handle matters that have already been initiated, because matters initiated towards this time don't always end up well, and you're going to overwhelm the Virgo moon when you try to do everything at once. And that evening, the Virgo moon does trine Uranus and Taurus, which can be a burst of new enthusiasm or energy towards initiatives that have already been undergone, which is great. So lean into that energy, as well as if you're just feeling all over the place, overwhelmed, just exhausted mentally, root down into your body. On Tuesday, take a long walk, take a long hike, take something to just anchor down. And you might find all of Tuesday, it's like cat's got your tongue. It might be really hard to verbalize. Honestly, ever since Mercury's been in shadow, sitting down to foam, I've had such a hard time communicating. I'm Mercury ruled, so I'm more sensitive to it. So I apologize if I use analogies wrong or if I say the wrong word. This morning I was voice memoing my friend and I'm like, I'm so excited. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like little things like that where, again, it's not earth shattering, but it's annoying when you say something that you don't intend, or you're having a hard time just conveying yourself or expressing yourself. And again, with Mercury and Gemini, just laugh at yourself. You know, I could have scrapped that voice memo and stopped there, but I just laughed at myself. I'm like, yep, I'm a toe. I'm a toe and I'm excited. On Wednesday the 11th, Wednesday is Mercury's day in the astrological days of the week. And we've got a Mercury ruled moon, so a lot of mercurial energy. It can be productive with the Virgo moon trining Taurus sun. Seriously, during this influence, the more that you can connect with nature and connect with your body, the more you can sort of temper the impatience and the frustration of the other portions of the cosmos. Like seriously, root down into your body. Hangriness is a real thing. My boyfriend is a Venus Taurus, and oftentimes I'm just like in my office, like so stressed out, like I don't have time to eat. And then he makes me something, I'm like, oh, I was just really hungry. Like I was just really hungry. That's why I was so grumpy. We forget that sometimes when we're so in our mind and so in a mercurial energy run. I don't have time to eat. I have all of these things to do and this feature isn't working. And it's like, oh no, I actually have a body and it can't function when I'm not having nutrients and I'm not moving. So even if you feel like you don't have time, on Wednesday, take care of your body. Ground down, make sure you're eating enough. Eclipses are intense. Drink water, spend time in nature, get off your phone, with the Virgo moon opposing Mars and opposing Neptune. It's in this sort of energy where it's like, okay, it's a Virgo moon, I'm gonna be productive, I'm gonna handle my to-do list. Oh, but look, Lindsay just got engaged. Oh my God, Lindsay, I'm so excited for you. Let's grab coffee. And then she's like, yeah, let's grab brunch. And now you're like knee deep in brunch menus. And then you thought, oh my gosh, brunch, that reminds me of Eggs Benedict. I should try to make an Eggs Benedict this week. And then you're like knee deep in Eggs Benedict recipes. Girl, and none of your to-dos have been handled, which is stressing the Virgo moon out. And with the opposition to Neptune, I just feel like anxiety or just like nerves on Wednesday could be really bad, particularly with an inability to sort of stay focused. So I would just recommend stay away from your phone, try to mitigate your nerves or your fears. Again, so important this week to feed what is real, what is tangible, and starve your fears, okay? As we get closer to the Scorpio moon, there's gonna be this brewing of worst case scenario thinking, but again, you just need to practically attune to what is in front of you. Like when you're in this hike, it doesn't do any good to be like, oh, what if we're here till night and the bears come get us and we're out of trail mix and we spilt them all over the ground and we're out of water and oh my gosh, or just be like, okay, practically, what are we gonna do? We're gonna turn around because I don't think the person leading this hike knows where they're going. Let's turn around, let's be practical, let's use our resources, and let's figure this out. Like worst case scenario thinking really isn't helping this week, but it's gonna be very tempting not to go that direction. There's a lot of Mars energy in the cosmos this week. We've got Jupiter in a Mars ruled sign. We've got a Mars ruled lunar eclipse on Sunday, and Mars is about action and assertion and sometimes taking action without ration. And with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, trust me when I say knee-jerk actions taken this week could need to be reviewed or redone. So take a beat, breathe, ground down, handle what comes up. The moon is void that evening at 9 p.m. until it enters Libra at about 11:30, which attunes our focus into the balance within our world, the one-to-one connections within our world. Okay, so on Thursday, the 12th, we have a Libra moon. And P.S., just in case you like fast forward past this part, this is not champagne, this is your Montana champagne flute. Long story, please disregard. Just didn't want you to think I was drinking champagne, although wouldn't that kind of be fabulous? And on Thursday, it's a Libra moon. And if you know Libra moon, you know it's a fabulous placement. It's an it girl placement. My bestie is a Libra moon. My mom is a Libra moon. And my mom only drinks champagne, which I think is such an it girl placement. Like she really won't drink anything besides champagne, which I just think is it girl behavior. Libra moon, it girl placement. And that Libra moon is typically inclined towards the finer things of life. They want things to be beautiful and harmonious. And with the Libra moon opposing Venus and Jupiter in Aries, it's very much the energy around just buy it, just book it, just you deserve it. Buy the $200 bottle of champagne, book the facial, online shop and check out $400. And it's like, ooh, should we? Again, during eclipses, we're more erratic. We're more emotional. We're more likely to make decisions from a knee-jerk reaction. Like you could buy the shoes and they come in the mail and you're like, I don't even really like these. Or you could be sitting there in the facial and the entire time just stressed getting this facial, thinking about how much money it is. Like with this Libra moon opposing Venus and Jupiter, sure, treat yourself, but trust me, when there's Jupiter aspects, there can be a tendency to go to excess or go overboard in the desire to treat themselves. And with it, in a Mars ruled sign, Aries, it's like, just do it, just take action. It's like, should I think on this? Do I really want this facial? Do I really want these shoes? Again, my best advice, take a beat, think on it. do you need a $200 bottle of champagne? Maybe you do. Maybe someone out there does, but not everyone does. There is sort of a helpful mercurial energy midday with the Libra moon trining Mercury in Gemini, which is allowing us to see things a little bit more logically, perhaps nurture the connections that we have, like any clients that we have, consultations that we have. This would be a really aligned time for that. Again, nurturing past clients, past relationships, past contracts before bulldozing ahead to get more. Make new friends, keep the old, right? Make new clients, but keep the old. Like, this is a really great time to nurture past connections, past clients, past contracts, so on and so forth. On Friday, the 13th, ooh, spooky, but the astrology is not spooky beyond the fact that we are building to a full moon. So again, things could feel really intense. A lot of emotions could be brewing. We have a aspect that night of the Libra moon opposing Chiron in Aries. So some people could be dreaming about an ex or a past partner, or just having a pang of missing someone from the past, or just feeling your singleness acutely, or having like sort of a pang of loneliness. Again, with eclipses, this isn't the time that I would make knee-jerk responses like texting your ex or reaching out to someone who you've gone no contact with. Again, during eclipses, we're feeling things more intensely and we're more inclined to make decisions we typically wouldn't. So hear me out. If you feel the temptation to text your ex Thursday night, Friday morning is when this particular aspect that I'm speaking of, take a beat and see how you feel Monday after this eclipse is done, okay? I'm telling you, eclipses are like pressure cookers where we feel like this now or never, like, I need to reach out now so we can rekindle our love. And then on Monday, you're like, who? Literally who? So just see how you feel after the eclipse before you let your loneliness craft a text that doesn't need to be sent. It does not need to be sent. Other than that, Friday does seem productive just for muscling through tasks, nurturing clients, nurturing what is underway as the Libra moon does trine Saturn in Aquarius. That evening, so technically exact Saturday morning, but Friday evening, there's a building Libra moon squaring Pluto. So just really important to watch any doom scrolling, fear spiraling. I know it's really hard just with the news lately, but just taking that moment to find balance within your world. That's what Libra moon is all about. So if you realize you spent a lot of day on technology, balance it by reading a book. If you spent a lot of time, by yourself all day, balance it by spending time with a loved one. Like, just seek to find balance, because with the square to Pluto, we could sort of like obsess or ruminate or, be super imbalanced in unproductive ways. On Saturday the 14th, the moon enters Scorpio, which is the sign of the forthcoming full moon. And just really important with this, forthcoming full moon this weekend, emotions can feel really intense. And while emotions are helpful, it can be a really helpful guidance system in sort of guiding what feels good for us, what's a good decision, and what feels like heavy and restrictive. Just really important this weekend to continue to flex that muscle of logic and rationality. Not easy when it's a Scorpio full moon, especially with it on the south node. There can be a feeling of crisis or of fear and of panic, and allowing your actions to be made from that knee-jerk anxious state. Just taking a beat this weekend. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel this sense of like mounting anxiety or fear or crisis, take a deep breath, connect to your body, ground down, and attune to logistics. Like, it's not too late to turn around if you are realistically realizing that this is not the trail that you set out to do. Let me know if you've ever gotten lost on a hike. A time that I think of was with my friends in Sedona, and we were on this hike where we got horribly lost, and Aries was leading the way, but we were all like hyping her up. We were like, yeah, this rock looks like what it looked like on the website. And then there was like one moment that we were like literally almost sideways going across this huge like cliff rock. Like, yeah, this is the way, right? And like none of us wanted to realistically attune to the fact, girlies, we are lost. We are lost. And it's important to note with this week's astrology that Mars and Jupiter are in mutual reception. What that means is that Mars is answering to Jupiter because Mars is in Pisces, and Jupiter is answering to Mars because Jupiter is now in Aries. So Mars and Jupiter are sort of hyping each other up, while Mercury is creating all of these problems and this need to sort of like review and redo. So like Mars and Jupiter is like, yeah, this is the right path. This is the right way. You can do it. Just keep going. Just bulldoze. You'll find the path. You'll find the path. But it's like we're getting deeper and deeper, and we really need to redo and go back. Eventually, we did go back, and we had ran out of water on the hike. The morale was low. I was trying to keep it high. I was just telling us all about the astrology. I was just like, let's just get through this hike. We've got this. I think we meant to go on a 7-mile hike, and I think it turned out to be 10 or 11. It was such a hot day. Afterward, we went to CVS and I got the most heavenly Coca-Cola that I still dream of all the time. And listen, I know soda's not good for you. I hear you. And I know water would have been a better choice. I think I got Coke and water, but I know the Coke probably dehydrated more. But hear me out. That heavenly moment of drinking that carbonation and that sweetness when every part of my body just felt so depleted. I dream of it. I dream of it. It made the 10-mile hike so worth it. So again, you don't need to get in too deep. You can take that moment, just take a beat and be like, guys, I don't think we're supposed to be going sideways on a rock. I don't think it's supposed to be off trail. I don't think the trail we're going on wouldn't have a single soul for the last hour. Let's take a moment. Let's take a beat. Let's use our brains. And let's reverse if this path is not serving us. Don't let the Mars, Jupiter hyping each other up just continue to like keep you going down a path that is not serving you. Again, it's like acting out of emotion around. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to turn around, but it's like Mercury Retrograde. This is the time to turn around, redo, review, find the trail. On Sunday, another doozy of a day, it is the lunar eclipse. It's squaring Saturn. I do have a video all about the eclipse if you want to dive deep into where it's activating your chart. It's a grief, okay? It's intense. With Scorpio, it's the energy of destruction. Truly, it's an energy of goodbyes, of letting go. And with the square to Saturn, it could be sort of a bitter pill to swallow. There can be certain elements that we are trying to hold on to, but with eclipses, it's like, it's easier just to let it go. Like there could be certain connections that you are releasing, friendships, jobs, projects, versions of yourself. And you really need to just trust in the flow of evolution at this time, and rather letting like emotion guide the way, or like fear or panic, or like, I don't want to be wrong, I don't want to let this go. Sometimes it's futile, and sometimes it's a waste of energy to continually fight against something that feels inevitable. So with this eclipse, just allow yourself to release what is not serving you, even if at one point in time you so wanted it to serve you. You so wanted this to be the trail for you, but sometimes it's just not your trail, babe. It is not your trail, and there's a better trail somewhere else, and you're running out of trail mix, and it's best to turn around, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a failure. So long as you are learning, you are growing, that is all that matters. And I would just really recommend on Sunday, create some space to just process, just feel, because things could feel intense. In addition to that, we have Venus conjoining Chiron, which is this pang. It's like sort of this wound. It's an Aries, so it feels like a wound around, why am I not good enough? Why did this not work, right? And again, it's not that you're not good enough. It's just sometimes enthusiasm and initiation isn't enough. We need to know our course. We need to fill in the details. We need to have adequate resources. And if something doesn't work out, it's not your fault. Like you can internalize during this energy, what's wrong with me? I should have packed enough trail mix. I should have done this and this. And it's like, it's nothing wrong with you. All you can do is do better next time, and that's okay. I also do want to highlight there can be pangs around relationships coming up during this time. With Mercury Retrograde, we're reviewing the past. A lot of people could be thinking about their exes, internalizing, why didn't it work? There's something wrong with my value. There is nothing wrong with your value. Again, it's just that person wasn't your trail, wasn't going to get you to the right destination. And sometimes we can just delusionally keep going on a trail or keep continuing in a relationship, like one day we'll figure it out, like one day it'll feel right, and one day we'll get to the destination. It's like, not necessarily. And it hurts to realize when something's over. It hurts to process the past and realize that something didn't work out. But again, there's tremendous value, particularly at this time, in just taking a beat to review what is not working, to review what you learned from that particular connection, and to just set out on your next adventure, your next hike with proper resources, really researching the trail before getting in too deep. Like there really is tremendous value in planning and foresight when Mercury is in retrograde. In addition to that, as if that is not enough, we also have Sun square Saturn and Sun sextile Neptune. Now, this is important because with Sun square Saturn, there are certain limitations. And again, we're feeling our confidence. This is a hit to the ego, right? It's like, I don't want to admit to my girlies that I got us lost because I was leading this, right? I don't want to admit that this project didn't work out. But it's important not to live your life from that egoic state around, I don't want to admit I was wrong. You know, like we can waste a lot of energy that way. We can waste a lot of our resources on that way, eating all of our trail mix on this hike when it's like the right hike for us is over there. There's going to be a waterfall and everything that we want, but we want to just prove to everyone, I know where I'm going. This is the right way, that we're not taking that moment to just admit, hey guys, I'm so sorry. I think I just lost. Let's just turn around and let's figure this out step by step, right? Like with Sun square Saturn, there can be something that's sort of just like an ego punch. There's just something where you're not feeling that great about yourself, but there is a possibility to see it from a higher perspective with the sextile to Neptune. And this is significant as well because the lunar eclipse does trine Mars and Neptune as well. So it's like while we're processing this loss and we're sort of feeling this punch to our ego, there is this potential to be able to see things from a higher perspective and say, okay, I see why that trail didn't work out. Like I see where I could have gone wrong with that particular situation, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's all we can really aim for. Again, you don't have to be right every single time. Every single trail doesn't have to be the right one. Like it's okay to admit, hey, this actually isn't the trail. It's okay to change your mind. It's better during this influence to handle what's been initiated and to also take that moment to reflect on what is not serving you, whether it is a trail, a person. It's not the time to just bulldoze and just hope, well, this project will come together eventually. Well, this relationship will make sense eventually. It's like during this time, taking that beat to review, reflect, recalibrate your priorities, relax, trust me, before bulldozing something new. Take time to nurture what's already been ongoing. And while there does feel to be a loss with this lunar eclipse, allow yourself to anchor into the higher perspective of it. Whatever helps you get there, whether that's prayer, whether that is meditation, whether that is just time in nature to just reflect and just process and just let go, strive to find that higher perspective as you move through this energy. So friends, what a week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I strive to remain objective. And this is important because there's a lot of knee-jerk energy in the cosmos this week around taking action, whether it's from a source of enthusiasm with Jupiter and Aries or a source of fear and panic with the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse. Really important with Mercury retrograde in Gemini to remain objective. Almost like if this helps you with meditating to just visualize yourself above this situation, like with not so much emotion interwoven into it, because from an emotional place, particularly this week, you can make really erratic, knee-jerk reactions. You can get into deep to a hike or to a project or initiate this brand new adventure that you don't have proper resources for, whether it's mental or physical or otherwise. This is really best to just remain objective. If you're really frustrated, try to work on something technological. Trust me, I know how frustrating that is, but just taking that beat to say, okay, Excel isn't working, iMovie isn't working, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna go for a hike and see if it works later. Objectively, the world is not ending. I have time for this, and not getting so emotional and angry that you're just exporting, and then you do something knee-jerk and you accidentally, corrupt the entire file. Like, just important to remain objective, be patient, reflect on what's not serving you, who's not serving you, what trail is not serving you, and find that logical view on the situation. Logically, we've been on this hike for 3 hours and we haven't seen a person for the past hour. Let's review, shall we? Let's be objective about this without casting blame on who got us lost or who forgot the map. let's just rationally attune to the situation and let's rationally figure it out. Like, that's really the muscle that you're going to want to flex this particular week. Loves, I'm wishing you such a beautiful week as you co-create with these energies. My Instagram handle is @HaleyComet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay